There, and welcome to another Papetti Math YouTube video tutorial where I'm going to be teaching you, yes, you, Algebra 1. And in this video, we're going to be finishing up our lesson on graphing lines found in Chapter 3 of our workbook. And if you don't have a workbook, that's fine. I'm happy to have you here following along with this YouTube video tutorial. So in exercise number 5, we have Valerie is saving money for a new bicycle. She has already saved $150 and is able to save $50 each week towards the bicycle. Create an equation and graph the line that represents this situation. So first thing that we need to do is we need to create an equation to represent this information. So let's take a look at what she already has, and that's going to be our initial value, or in the line's case, the y-intercept. So remember, we're setting up an equation in the form of y equals mx plus b, where b is going to be our y-intercept, or our initial value. So that's going to be an initial value of $150. And now she's able to save $50 each week. So a key word that I see is each, and each or for every or per week often tells me that that's going to be my rate or my slope. So I'm going to have 50x plus 150, $50 per week plus the 150 she already has. So let's graph that. But in order to graph this, we're going to have to change the scales of one or both of our axes. So we're going to have to start at 150 on our y-axis. So we definitely don't have 150 lines here. So what we want to do is we want to change our scale to go up by a number that would make sense to go up by. So let's also look at our slope to keep this in mind. So our slope is 50, so we're going to have to go 50 units over 1. And then we're going to have to start at 150. So again, I see the greatest common factor of those numbers is 50. So I'm going to make my axes, my y-axis for that matter, go up by 50. All right, and since I'm only going over 1 unit when I do my slope, I'm going to have ones, going up by ones on my x-axis. And now I also want to add in units, so I know what each axis represents. So my x values are going to be weeks, because each week we go up $50. So my y-axis will be dollars, which means that my slope is going to be represented by my change in y over my change in x, which is going to be the dollars per week, or the $50 each week. So let's graph this line. We're going to start at 150 on our y-axis, and we're going to go from there up 50, which is only 1 unit on the graph, over 1. Up 50 over 1. $50 per week, $50 per week, $50 per week, $50 per week, $50 per 1 week, $50 per 1 week, $50 per week, $50 per week, and I'm just going to continue this until I run out of room, which is right about there. I'm then going to make a nice straight line through these points. And remember, when I draw an arrow on this line, I only want one arrow. Because if I were to draw an arrow on this side of the line, it would imply that I could have negative weeks, which is not possible to have negative weeks. So we only draw one arrow, and that's going in this direction, based on how Valerie is saving her money. Now, based on this graph, how much will Valerie have saved after 3 weeks? So we're going to go to 3 weeks on our graph, and we're going to follow it up, just like we did in the evaluating functions unit. And where we hit the graph is right here. And that's the point 3, comma, well, it looks like 300. So how much will Valerie have saved after 3 weeks? Our y value is 300, which means it's $300. If the bicycle costs $450, how many weeks will it take Valerie before she is able to buy the bicycle? So we're going to do that one like in reverse of what we just did for the part A. So we're going to go up to 450, so I'll label this up to 450. So we know that 450 is right here. We're going to follow it over until we hit the graph right there, and that's going to be the point. Let's follow that down. That's an x value of 6, comma 450. And that's going to tell me that my x value is 6, which represents the number of weeks. So after 6 weeks, or at 6 weeks, Valerie can buy the bicycle. Awesome. So now we were able to answer 2 questions based on this graph, and these 2 questions might have been questions that you would wanted to have predicted based on a savings pattern. You might want to know how much money you'd have after a certain number of weeks if you were saving X amount of dollars per week. You also might want to have known how many weeks it's going to take you in order to save enough money to buy a bicycle. So in Valerie's case, a linear equation is very useful in this situation. And if this video was helpful in setting up an equation from this word problem, graphing it, and answering the questions given, then give this video a thumbs up to let me know that I helped you out. You're now ready for lesson number 2 in this chapter on linear equations. Good luck.